Hey everybody, and welcome back to Horror Film Lovers. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got my co-host,
John Ward.
John Ward is here for Mainstream Mondays. We're back once again. And this time we're going to be talking about the 2010, I think if I'm correct, 2010 film, Paranormal Activity 2. Um,
Yep,
the
2010.
second, yep, 2010. I was right. Where they bring back Mika and Katie.
Spoilers, spoilers. I
There's
didn't
gonna
know
be lots
that.
of spoilers in this
I didn't know
show.
that at all.
You did know that. Yeah, I hope so, unless you didn't watch the movie.
This would be probably my third time watching it.
Third time watching it. Well, it
Yeah.
was my first, and I enjoyed it a lot. I'm enjoying this series. I mean, the one thing I always hate in these movies, and the thing I'm always picky about, is the fact that there are scenes, and this is not just this movie. Other people have mimicked it. I watched The Haunting of Something House or whatever for the Asylum. They've done a few of those. Yeah, I know they did Haunting of Whaley House, but that wasn't the one I was talking about. It was like one that Paul showed me, and it was just a lot of it was like the same stuff of like and Paranormal Activity probably started this first, but like where you're waiting and waiting and waiting for something to happen and then maybe like something falls off a wall, you know? And you're just like, really? Like that was it? The ghost knocked something
Well, you
off
need
a
you need a
wall?
build up. You need to start small, so it opens a door. Small, and then big is it's like destroying the house.
Yeah, I
You
love I
gotta.
love my favorite scene in the whole movie is the scene with the pots and pans and then all of
So
us, and stuff
that
like that.
that scene. Now this is on that documentary. The actress said that she had no idea that was going to happen. That they told her, "Oh yeah, a drawer and like one door will pop open,"
And like
and
all
they
of them popped open.
and they did like an alien, when she didn't know all the blood was going to hit her, and yeah, so she said that reaction is real.
Uh, you could sort of
Just
tell, like, if you watch it, because she generally seems scared that that happened. And I think I thought it was because they had probably done it a few times, but they don't tell her when it's going to happen, you know?
well, they might do if they rehearse it. They might only open one or two drawers,
Yeah.
and then when
And,
they're okay, this is for real, and then they just hit that red button, and everything
and
happens.
that
The
was
other
so
one,
cool. That was so cool that I love that scene. That scene just made me go, okay, that made the movie. Like that was it.
well, and the other one that was is when the daughter is sleeping on the sofa
Mhm.
and she hears the huge bang and she gets startled and wakes up. She said that was her just taking a nap because they were shooting like 24/7, and so she just went to go take a nap, and they're like, let's do this, and then they like did the big boom, so her kind of jolting up was real. So there's a few things like
Well,
that
she
in this.
continued with that because, like, at that scene,
Both
like,
of them
she
did.
doesn't just, yeah, they went with it, or whatever, and they were both they were all in character, so wonderful. Like, I loved it.
Yeah. Well, and Jason Blum said that well, actually no, I think it was the director of this said that the like the guys who come in to install the cameras, those
Hmm.
are real camera installers. So they figured, why get an actor to fake where to put cameras, which may not be correct? Why not just bring in real installers and film them? And so the installers would know, you put the camera there, you put a camera there, you can put one down here. So those are real. And then if you remember the swimming pool cleaner when it jumps out and lands right next to them, they tried that with ropes. They tried it with like fishing line. They tried it with string. Nothing did it. This is why I'm hoping he is cool. Jason Blum got into the swimming pool underneath it and was holding his breath and launched it out with his hands. So it
Nice,
just flew straight up and landed right on the. Now I don't know how many times they did it, but he said, yeah, that was him. That he
nice.
he said, well, let me try something, and he hopped in and it popped right up.
That is so cool.
So
I
the owner of
like
the
that, but
friggin' company is doing that.
I love the there's that scene where she's like, why does the cleaning thing keep like going from one place to the other? You know, like who keeps moving it? If it's not you, who's doing this at night? And they're like, you're like, yeah, the cleaning thing's not, walking on its own. And then she's like, well, let's go to the cameras and find out. And he's like, all right. And then he actually sees it get up
Just,
and like
yeah,
the
kind of
string
comes
is,
up,
yeah,
goes
like a
down. Yeah.
snake kind of, it's kind of like a snake and it kind of slithers around and everything. And he's like, yeah. And then he thinks think that's normal or whatever. I'm like, like that thing does that because then that's when he does the thing where it pops up and everything and scares them or whatever. But it's really him. Like it was supposed to be that guy set that, to do that or whatever. It's
Well,
the
he has
idea.
the dad for the swimming pool one, has the remote in his hand.
Right.
And so I think, yeah, he knew, he pushes it and then it pops up and goes down. So at that point, he probably doesn't think it's a ghost or anything.
Yeah, he doesn't think it's a
But
ghost.
when it slides up, then that's a little different,
Right, but
because
he
he,
still doesn't think it's a ghost. He still doesn't think
well,
because
like,
for the
when the
longest
daughter
time
gets locked out, yeah, he thinks it's the wind. Even when she
yeah,
shows him the video, it's the wind. I
it's the
mean,
one.
that's what I would be saying. I mean, it's, I don't believe in any of that stuff. So if you told me a window closed, I'd be like, okay, the window closed. You know, it's, I wouldn't think it's a ghost.
Mm,
Even if you showed me video like that, I'd be like, yeah, the wind closed. The wind closed it. Because why now?
exactly.
I am going to say this. This is one of the few films where I really like the daughter,
Hmm.
because the daughter wasn't the typical movie daughter of, mom and dad, you're ruining my life. Fuck you. And like slamming the door to her room and, like, sneaking out to visit the boyfriend. And she wasn't that. Instead, like the dad and the daughter got along really well. There's the stepmom. She seemed to like the stepmom and they got
Hmm.
along,
And that
you
new
know,
aunt and everything
yeah,
kind of
and
thing.
like
And
she accepted the baby and she liked the dog and she got along with like the nanny or maid.
she
uh
loved
um
that. She loved her.
yeah, and it's
She
like,
was
oh
mad that
my,
he fired her.
yeah, it's like, wow, this isn't like the bitchy selfish,
In
you
fact,
know
she's trying to like at one point she thinks it's cool, that they're being haunted.
yeah, yeah, wouldn't it be cool if there was a ghost?
No,
And if
not
you've seen
really.
this movie, I mean, obviously you know what movie you're going into, so obviously it's not going to be cool.
But it's not
uh
even a
um
ghost. It's once again a demon, which,
yeah,
it's this is it the same demon as the first movie? Or
yeah,
is,
yeah, it's the same one.
and it gets
Yeah.
transferred over to Katie, right?
Yeah, because they bring that up, that it has to be transferred to somebody in the same bloodline.
Right.
And so that's when they burn the picture. And by burning the picture, it goes to Katie. And then they have, how genius was that? I mean, can you imagine if they didn't do Demon Katie at the end of part one? And if it
Right.
was her slitting her neck or getting shot by
I
the
saw that. I
cops,
saw that, by the way. I get to see the slit thing.
it's
But
which is fine. It's just so short. And I know that you didn't like the cop one. You found that boring. I think that's still the best one if it was a standalone movie.
yeah.
But man, what Spielberg was 100% correct. You
Keep them
know,
alive so that they can continue the story as a franchise. And it's
yeah,
not like like a different story each movie, which it becomes from what I've understood. Like it becomes separates from Katie, right?
no, Katie's in every one.
Oh,
They try to get her in every single one. Yeah.
okay.
So
So
Mika
they do.
isn't, but Katie
Yeah.
is. Yeah. And the
Mika
whole
was pretty
hunter
cool in
thing.
this. It's nice to see him. And it also established, oh man, I'm gonna get one of these myself, which I thought was a pretty cool, like,
I
throwback.
loved all of that stuff to lead up to. And I like how they even said like 60 days to Mika's death,
Hmm.
night to Mika's death. And I think that when you have a film with an ending like that becomes so big, what do you do?
Hmm.
Like, what's the sequel? And that's why I think everybody who worked on these seemed to be very smart in like marketing and how to do it. That it's like, well, we'll do a prequel sequel. And I was like, fuck, that is smart. So we still get Katie and Mika, and then we see Katie at the end, which then will lead into part 4, because part 3, which I still think Katie's in, is in part 3.
I think
Um,
she's an adult Katie, an adult
yeah, it's
it's
before we,
adult Katie and adult her sister or whatever,
yeah,
so
they
both of
still
them.
get them in, even though it's a prequel,
Mm.
which is the one at the time of the 3 made the most money. And I
And that
still
was
think that's like,
directed by the guys that did Catfish. So I'm kind of excited to see that one because I really the Catfish movie, before it became a TV series, they had done that, and so they were documentary filmmakers, and then it was perfect that documentary filmmakers. Did you know the person that directed this did the Adventures of or what was it? What's it called? It's the one with um Adrian Grenier did
when
uh
you say it, I'll mention it, because they talk about as the film that got him the job.
yeah, I gotta look this up. It started with I want to say it started with a
Well,
Sebastian Cole or something.
I have Wikipedia up right here. So it's Todd Williams,
Yeah,
and
Adventures of a Sebastian Cole, and he had done that, which was a big indie hit, and stuff. And then
yeah, he did the Door in the Floor. That was 2004, and then Wings Over the Rockies 2009,
dude, he was
and
he was married to Famp Janssen.
oh really?
Yeah, oh my goodness, from Faculty and
Oh shit,
other
he's still married to Gretchen Mol.
yeah.
Wow.
Is
He
that
also did
crazy?
that Stephen King movie, Cell.
Yeah. Wasn't that am I thinking of something else or is there another was Cellular? Which one was the one that
Cell is the one with John
Tom
Cusack.
Cruise? Which one's the
No,
one Tom Cruise that sounds like that? Is that
sounds
right?
like Cell. No, I don't know anything.
Ah, I know. You know all the
Cell is the one that's with the cell phones, where they turn people into zombies. It's written by
uh
Stephen King. It's the
well that would
reunion
make
of
sense.
John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson.
Hold on a second. I gotta go downstairs and hold on.
Last film that he directed.
So yeah, so Cell was the last movie that Todd directed, which kind of
Yeah, which
sucks.
did not do well at all. So that may be why.
Well, he's got 3 upcoming projects in development. So hopefully one of those how happen. One's called Helldiver. That sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, I don't have. I'm looking at Wikipedia, so I don't have those on here. I just have that
It's on IMDb.
2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but he had done Adventures of Sebastian Cole, which starred Adrian Grenier and kind of put Adrian Grenier on the map, as like people talk about how in Entourage, Adrian Grenier sort of was like Mark Wahlberg, I guess, right? Very much like Mark Wahlberg, but nobody really comes to think of it as Adrian Grenier was Vince Chase, period, because I mean his big first indie thing was a big hit, and everything kind of really helped get him into Hollywood, and everything. Fincher's Dispatch, well, which I think was after, if I'm correct, that was after Celebrity and a bunch of other movies. So good for him, you know.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
moving on.
it also seems to be that with these directors that they plucked out, uh, it almost seems like they don't really have good experiences, especially from this documentary. That it seemed to be that the in-house people, like the writer, eventually directs one, like writes and directs one, and then the editor, he did Bruce Dimension. They have good things to say, but the other directors don't necessarily. They're not criticizing it, but it's almost like it was like going to war almost, to get this stuff done. Like they didn't expect it to be like this. Well, the others didn't say that. So, but I just think I like this one better than the first one, and I just thought that they did a really good job with it. The two things that are left unsolved, the dog, because we know that the dog was in the hospital
Hmm.
or the vet, and they never bring the dog home, and the daughter. So they say at the end of it that she was on a field trip to come home and find her.
And found her
Right.
parents killed. Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever happened to her, I'm surprised they didn't bring her back.
That's true. Why didn't they bring her back for like, I mean, she could have been in the third one and then gotten killed, by her mom, or whatever, or not mom, but her aunt, you know. Uh, Interestingly enough, we see Katie come in at the end and just like push what's her name?
Yeah,
The
the
her
sister
sister
against the
against
camera.
the
Yeah.
wall, a camera, but we don't actually do we ever actually see her die?
I'm guessing that she did. Like kind of like Mika. Well, Mika got stabbed,
Yeah, you
but
sort of hear like, and you see blood on her when Mika gets stabbed, right? So you assume like um maybe what is it? That but like you would assume that he was dead, and they actually at the end they say he's dead. And I think they mention at the end of Paranormal Activity 2 that she comes and finds both of her parents dead.
yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that,
So the force of the hit, I guess,
I don't know. Or
killed
maybe
her.
there's just something we don't see. We don't,
I would just say it's the force of the hit.
yeah,
I mean, it's it's duplicating Mika from the first one, even though he was stabbed. But I think it was just the force of the hit,
right.
and her hitting the wall, killed her. So it was, yeah. I think everything in this works. I don't think that there was, I like how it ends with Katie pulling into the driveway. Hey, that's
Mm.
a big camera there, and I like that. So it just ties right in. But I don't, I think I mentioned this on the last one, is even with stuff like that, I don't think you could do this chronologically,
Yeah, well,
because they
because the way that they have it on this one, it ends with her murdering her sister, and everything like that, which happened after. So you would have to literally watch part two, then stop it like, toward the end, but not at the end, you know.
well, you would, yeah, you would have to go part three, and then you would go the beginning of two,
Right.
and then one, and
And
then
then
back
come
to
back
two,
to and then
and then four.
now if somebody like really had no, you know, was bored one day and wanted to make a whole thing out of this, and just edit all the stuff together, you could, it would work. They did it well enough where it would work where if they edited all the way up to a certain point, cut it, put that part, and then put like, part two in there and then part one in there, you know what I mean? Spliced in you know what I mean? Like it'll work. Because they don't, there's no real
Yeah,
continuity issue, I don't think.
no, you would just have to kind of do it like Saw. If somebody wanted to make one long, like 12-hour movie of Saw or something, you would have to take scenes from part seven and put them into part two, and part two would have to go into part one, and part three would have to go into part four. You would have to mix them all up.
Yeah, it's not like, was that the James Wan, Conjuring universe kind of thing. Um,
That
but
you would have to pick what you like, because what we discovered from those is they reshot that stuff, and some of it didn't make sense. Like the apartment would be different, or maybe they're sitting in a different place, or they're telling more of a story than what they originally did, or they retconned something. So you
right.
would almost have to, like with Annabelle, with the nurses and the one guy, you would have to say which one of those works best, and then pick that one and throw the other ones away,
Um,
because the other ones don't make sense then.
what was the thing I was gonna say is like the only thing I think that there was an issue with is the fact that The sister talks to Katie, right, at one point and kind of tells her that her house is haunted. And even her the guy says to Mika, they think the house is haunted and stuff. Mika's like, oh, that's a little weird. And then, like they're all talking about it. But then if you go back to number one, he never once mentions like, oh, like your sister's house was haunted. Our house is haunted like your sister's house. Maybe it's the same ghost. That kind of thing. Like there's no kind of
Well,
reference because they
I
shot it
mean,
before.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if this had been something where it'd been more planned out, stuff like that would have been seen in the movie.
Well, of course they had no idea. But I mean they could have. I mean, I know that we're focusing on the sister's house, but I guess in what you're saying, they could have shot a new scene at Katie's house and have Mika go, and have her talk about it and then go, oh yeah, it's like your sister's house. I mean, I guess they could have shot something new
Yeah, into there and
and
yeah,
almost, yeah, like a brand new scene that we didn't see in the first movie.
which would have been
Almost like
cool.
it's,
That would
yeah,
have been
like an
cool.
outtake or a deleted scene, you could say, and they put it into this one.
Right.
So
That would have been cool, but they didn't.
speaking, I mean, speaking of, did you watch that deleted scene?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't think I watched the whole thing of it. I was kind of
It's
bored.
the one, dude, come on. What was it's 7 minutes
I know, man.
and it's stuff that we talk about. How, I mean, it's just, I don't get, I was bored. It's 7 minutes. You didn't have to watch that. I sent you that thing that says all deleted scenes from 1 through 7.
Yeah, I
So
did
you wouldn't have
not.
to
I
look
only
for that.
watched the cut from the slice. That's where I saw that.
So you didn't
Yeah.
watch the deleted scene from part 2?
You also sent me that. Yeah, I did watch that. Yeah. Uh,
Okay. You watched
you
the
know,
whole 7 whole
no, I
minutes?
wasn't gonna watch the hour and a half thing of all the
No,
other
I sent you the
movies.
hour-and-a-half thing so you wouldn't have to look for it. So you just watch the stuff for part 2. And then when you watch part 3, you
No,
just watch the
no.
deleted stuff from part 3.
Yeah, so I watched the deleted scene. I forgot what she sent to me what yesterday?
Yeah.
I watched it yesterday. I just don't remember.
That's the one where they can't find Hunter.
Yeah, oh yeah. And they were looking around and yeah, no, I totally remember that. Um
Do
they were looking for a
you?
hunter because Hunter uh, disappeared for a second.
Did you?
No, I did. It's just
Where do they
it's
find Hunter?
yesterday.
Where did they find Hunter?
I don't remember because it was yesterday. I don't remember.
How do you not remember from yesterday?
I don't
I'm
know.
56 years old and I remember yesterday.
I don't remember fucking a few
Just tell me
hours ago.
you didn't watch it. You
I
didn't
did
watch it.
watch it. I did watch it.
Okay, so I'll tell people what it is, and just in case you didn't watch it, you'll know. So Eddie Murphy had made a joke in Delirious about why do white people always stay in a haunted house. So then, of course, Eddie Murphy made a movie about staying in a haunted house, which was the Haunted Mansion. But this kind of relates to that, which is the family comes home, they can't find Hunter. They've already had the experiences, the disturbances going on in the house. They search the entire house. They can't find Hunter. I mean, they literally search the entire house. That's the whole scene, is them searching. And then they hear crying. They go outside, and Hunter is in the street crawling around where he could get hit by a car. And they don't know if he crawled there or they have no idea. And then they pick him back up, and then that cuts to them packing, and they got their suitcases, and they're like, we're out of here, we're leaving, and they leave. So this is one of those cases where the white family does leave the haunted house. But I was trying to figure out, where did that scene fit in,
Right.
because at no point did they ever mention, unless maybe it got dubbed over, the ghost, the ghost followed us to the hotel, so there was no reason for us to leave the house. But it's kind of
Hmm.
a funny scene because just seeing Hunter just crawling in the street was kind of funny.
Well,
Um,
remember there was that scene where he kind of gets up and gets out of his, crib and then
that
starts.
the funny thing about that is you see him moving along right the mattress of the bed, and then you see him go up like where he is there, like that the back piece go up. The camera cuts, and he's going down the stairs.
Right.
Where's the shot of him falling out of the bed? Because did the demon levitate him up over and then levitate him onto the floor, or did the demon bring him up and just drop him onto the floor?
That would have been fun to see.
Because it
Like,
just
ah!
cuts. Yeah, right when he gets to the top of the crib, it cuts to him crawling down the stairs,
Yeah, and
which
then
I
he
thought
goes
was
into like the basement or something, right? If I'm calling correctly. Like, didn't he go into the basement or something?
that's later, I think, is that's with the mom or the stepmom.
Although she gets sucked into the basement. I know that.
She gets stuck down there for like 3 hours,
Yeah,
and
and
then
then
she
she
comes
gets
back
bit.
up,
She gets
and
bit and then she's possessed.
yeah, on the leg, and then she's all weird. And that's when they discuss sending it to Katie, which is very ironic because they send it to Katie, and then Katie comes and murders them. So it's like, I guess that's what you get for being freaking evil people and sending it to your sister.
Just send it to like some guy you don't like, you know?
Well, remember they said it had to be blood.
Oh, that's true.
And we don't get Toby yet. Toby is in the third film.
Well, we do learn a little bit more about demons in this one because the girl and her boyfriend, or the daughter and her boyfriend, are looking up people on the uh they're looking up people on the internet, like looking up stuff on demons on the internet. And at one point the guy starts smiling about it and she's like, would you stop smiling? Like, this isn't supposed to be enjoyable, This is scary,
Well, because he
that
doesn't
this
take it seriously and he doesn't die.
he
I mean, he
doesn't die.
just,
Yeah, he doesn't, as far
yeah,
as
I
we
mean,
know.
yeah, he we don't see him like come back. I do like, once again, with the daughter is I like how she takes jokes, like when they're using the Ouija board and
Yeah, and he's talking about pussy.
and it spells out pussy, and she just laughs, like she just hits him and laughs. And then it said pussy. What was it, like pussy hunter, pussy
Pussy
box,
hunter, pussy hunt.
pussy hunt,
Yeah.
and then she laughed at that too. And I just thought, instead of her getting all offended and mad and leaving, it's just like, and the
Well,
guy's just like a teenager. He's just acting, because he just wants to have sex. He's just a horny
horny
teenager.
teenager. Yeah.
Yeah,
But they never show that if they ever hook up or anything. I'm guessing they don't, just because she has the kid, there or whatever,
right.
But though the kid can't get out of his crib unless the demon wants him to, you know.
Levitates him out. So
Yeah.
I did notice that apparently Dunkin' Donuts was a big supporter of this. I had my subtitles on, and every time they showed the TV, it was always a Dunkin' Donuts commercial.
Nice. So yeah, so I don't know. I sort of really enjoyed this movie like a lot more than the first one, but I enjoyed the first one a lot too. So, um,
I even think the one, even like the marked ones, I thought was a good direction to go, because we already had three more or less like in the same house type of thing, and it all dealt with the sisters. And then the third one, I mean the fourth one is right, one two, no, three is marked, no, three is the, so four. Oh yeah, because it's a spin-off, so then there's part four. So technically the marked ones is more Hispanic. So it's because then there is Paranormal Activity 4 that follows part 2.
so there's
But
part
marked ones is a spinoff. So I guess it's not a number
okay.
technically.
Yeah, because they go Paranormal Activity, then two, then three, then four, then the marked that's the marked ones, then the
Is marked
Ghost
ones after
Dimension.
4?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm getting them mixed up. Yeah.
So it
So
goes the marked ones, then Ghost Dimension, and then I
then
guess
next
Next
of
of
kin.
Kin.
which I did read. Um, it's a standalone movie, but the demon is the same. But then I did just watch a review on Next to Kin that says it has nothing to do with it, and the guy even named the demon, and it's not the same name.
So what I think I liked about the second one more than the first one was it was written by Christopher Landon, who, I'm a huge fan of, Happy Death Day and Freaky, did you see Freaky?
I want to. I need to own it. I own Happy Death Day 1 and 2, but and
Yeah.
I need to just own it because he directed it.
Chris Landon is one of my favorite writers out there for Blumhouse. Like I think he works really well with whatever and he brings a sort of humor to things that like the Pussy Hunt. I don't think anybody else would have wrote that, you know. Only he could have come up with the Ouija board saying Pussy Hunt. Not even Mike Flanagan would have done that. And so I think it's just the way his humor is and that sort of funny and kind of goofy, but also serious. He's really good at making stuff that is serious. Even Happy Death Day has comedy in it, but it's a serious movie. Like
Yeah, and I like the first one better than the second one. I thought
a lot of
this
people say the exact opposite too these days. A lot of people say Death Day 2 was better, you
no,
know.
it's overindulgence. And I kind of like not knowing why it's happening, but okay. I mean, he said that he wanted to make a trilogy, and which obviously he sets up for a third one. But the scene I hate the most, I can't stand it, is when the evil girl is doing all the French stuff. Where in part two, she's not evil, but
Mhm.
she's like trying to get the keys from the teacher. So she's doing some weird French accent that goes on way too fucking long. And it's almost like a Inspector Clouseau skit. And it's almost like that actress said, unless I can have a scene by myself and I do a French accent, I'm not going to do the movie because I just man did I hate that scene. I skip it. I watch it. I like everything except for that scene.
That's
I just
funny.
I just don't. The first one I think is great as far as like a Groundhog Day movie goes.
Yeah. I like
So
that. I like the idea that it was a horror Groundhog Day, and everything. You don't
yeah,
really see that, at all. So that's kind of fun.
yeah.
Um, I like the first one a lot. I've seen the second one once, and when it got to like basically, I don't know if it's like time travel or like alternate universe kind of things or whatever, it starts to kind of make me go, not really. Like then it becomes too weird, like too
It,
convoluted in a way.
yeah, because you find out that it's like I'm gonna get this the science students, and as I'm sure they have some other name, that they built that machine, and that's
Right.
what was affecting the first movie. But while the first film, yeah, it was just the same day over and over and over again. Yeah, the second one has like the alternate timelines where like the really bitchy mean girl is dating her boyfriend,
Mhm.
and it's like the opposite, I guess, of what it is, that she's actually like a nice person.
Right.
So it's but I mean I like him as a director and a writer. I just thought that there was a little too much. But I
Yeah.
would be interested to see if he what he would do with the third one.
Yeah. Where do you go from there? Yeah,
I
he
know
obviously
they
has a idea, I would
well
think.
they had all those government people. Like the FBI or whoever they were came to the college and took them all. They took the machine and they said, like we have a job for you or something like that. And they took them all from college. And so I guess that's the idea, is that they're going to work for the government and go back in time or whatever it is.
That's kind of a cool idea. It's sort of like I'm sure you're not a big fan of Black Panther or whatever, but there's the Wakanda Forever, and there was a character who I'm if you haven't seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever, close your ears because it's gonna be a little bit of spoilers,
I
I
don't
guess.
care. I got through about 10 minutes of it and I turned it off. I like the first film, but I don't think it's
Um,
as good as everybody
oh,
says. It's
no, no,
the
this isn't nearly as good as the first one, but there was a cool thing of introducing Riri Williams, aka Ironheart.
okay, we
To
we can stop right there.
Well, I'm just gonna say the way that they did it for it was interesting. because they made her a college student who was doing a project, and it turned out to be a project for the government, and she didn't know. She had no idea. So when they went looking for that project, that stuff, it was all supposed to be for the government to steal and take away, or whatever to have.
Yeah, but didn't
And
she steal it from Tony Stark?
no, I don't think
I,
so.
I believe the stuff to make Iron, like the costume, she stole from Tony Stark.
Probably because she was sort of a
And that really
feisty little
annoyed me.
thief.
It's like, oh, look, a black person who steals stuff. Okay,
I don't know if
that's
they were trying to go with that or not, but like that does seem kind
you
of
know
racist. I don't know. Um, but yeah, it was whatever. My point was that, she didn't know she was doing something for the government. She just thought she was doing something for her college class because her teacher said she couldn't do it, you know. So she wanted to prove her teacher wrong, and she did. And
of course, because she's perfect. She's wonderful. She's the bestest of them all. She's better
I
than
don't think
everyone.
so. There's parts in the movie where she gets her ass kicked because
So
she's not, she's young. She doesn't know everything, so she gets her ass kicked. She's not a Mary Sue or anything. She's just a very talented,
her helmet
smart
has
person.
corn
And
rolls in it.
hmm?
Her helmet has a place for corn rolls. Come on. Really?
All right, we're
Such a stupid character. It's
eh,
so dumb. It's the reason why that show's never going to friggin' come out.
well, it might still. I mean, who knows? I don't know what's going on. Nobody
Oh,
knows what's going on. Today was
but
supposed to be the day that the writer's strike is. The writers are meeting with the studios to negotiate a deal, and hopefully that'll happen. Just because I just want things to go sort of where people are
I want them
making
to
good
do
again.
better. That's what I want. I want writers to do better. You don't deserve better if you're writing dog shit. Dog shit being She-Hulk and Willow and all of this other garbage that brings in your politics instead of just telling a good story. When you're sitting down to outline your story, and it goes, okay, we need one black person, we need one Asian person, we need a transgender person. Okay, now let's start writing.
Right.
You don't know. The writers of She-Hulk do not deserve any more money. The writers of Velma do not deserve any more money. No, because you're writing garbage, and you
Well,
might be making more money.
how much of that is the writers and how much of that is the studio telling them you need to do this?
It's both. In some cases, it's both.
Right.
Disney, it's both, and apparently, others, studios are doing the same thing. I mean, not Bob Iger stuff keeps losing. So, the rumors are selling to Apple.
Uh,
He hasn't had a film hit $1 billion, and Spider-Man doesn't count because that's Sony.
yeah, was it it's gonna be weird if they do sell to Apple because then it'll be like what Apple Disney Apple or something and there's like already Warner Brothers Discovery, like it's just gonna be so weird to have these conglomerates just keep getting together. Like what is Universal gonna do Amazon, Universal Amazon, like I mean
Well,
is
it's
everything
it's possible if the next Lord of the Rings series bombs, like the first one did.
But was that Amazon that did the series?
Yeah.
Yeah. But what was Universal? Universal doesn't own them, do they?
No, I'm saying they may have to sell to Universal if the Amazon, if Lord of the Rings bombs, if the Rings of Power
Actually, I
bombs.
don't think that would ever happen. No, and now that I think about it for Amazon, because Amazon is you know, I mean, unless they could be in control, because they have the big shopping stuff that everybody uses. They can't just give
Well,
their
it
stuff.
it would no, they would just sell off their film division.
Uh,
They'd probably keep the TV division, but they would sell off the
Yeah, because Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and all that stuff is doing really well, and stuff as far as TV goes. So their TV stuff is good, except for, well, you said Rings of Power, and stuff like that. I don't think that
Well,
did
and
very
and
well.
they're all fiddling with the numbers, and Disney was caught in doing that too.
Yeah,
Chapek was part of that problem, but then when they did release their numbers, which is very rare for Disney, they found that they cooked the books, and like for Ahsoka, they said something like 16 million. I'm sorry, 16 million worldwide, which is horrible worldwide. And when it actually was 1.2.
oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, they cooked the books.
Yeah, well,
So it's but speaking of studios and all that, let's take a look at my thing that I have up here for Paranormal Activity 2. So like you
yeah,
mentioned, it came out in
2010.
2010,
Yeah,
the year we made contact. And the it's 91 minutes, but I have, this is from my groovy box set here. I this is part two, and the only things that are really on it is you get the theatrical version. Oh yeah, you get the theatrical version, the unrated version, which is the one that I watched, and then you get exclusive found footage.
cool.
So
I think the
and
rated version was the one I watched
most
because
likely,
it was on Paramount Plus, and I don't think they put the unrated stuff on there. I don't know though. I didn't check.
yeah, they do give running times on here. And except for I think next of kin, they're all theater or unrated versions. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm watching are the unrated ones. But and I still highly recommend this box set. So it was released October 22nd, 2010, 91 minutes. Its budget was 3 million. 3 million. It ended up making 177.5 million. I mean,
How much did it make? Wait, what?
177.5 million.
And what was the budget?
Three.
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
So
that's a hit right there. That's
if you
definitely
go back to the first one, where the production of it was 15,000, by the time they got done with the whole thing, I'm guessing that's the reshoots with Spielberg and all that type of stuff. Its post production budget then ended up being, I guess, a total of 215,000, but it grossed 194.2 million. So the second one did less, but still did amazing.
hmm
And so that's and I just finished this because I ordered this a while back, and I figured since we're watching the the Paranormal Activity films, I would watch it because there was only. I don't like when they do this. If a series only has one season, I think they should just call it the complete series. So I don't think they should call it season one because then it makes it sound like there's a season two. But I don't know if you ever watched this, but it's The River.
I've heard of it.
So this was created by the director of the first film. He's one of the writers. He's one of the producers. It is I'm guessing like when Paranormal Activity was at its peak, maybe because this was, if that's 2010, I also have The River up here. So 2012. So 2 years after part two. This came out on TV. It's 8 episodes, roughly an hour long if it had commercials. And it's basically Steve Irwin, is that his name? The guy with,
The Crocodile Hunter?
yeah. So it'd be like if he went missing in the Amazon and
Okay.
his family goes to find him because he's in search of a place called the Source, which is the source of all magic. And his son, and they didn't get along because he was part of the show and didn't really want to be. And he didn't like that his dad was always gone, is a scientist. So he's scientific, the dad is more magic. And
Right.
so they get a group of people together and they go down to the Amazon in this boat. And it ranges from like tribes trying to attack them to him, like to magic. Like there's his magic there, goes to demons and witchcraft. There's a Hispanic girl on here who seems to know all this stuff because she's from the area. So she's kind of our, she gives all the exposition. There's one episode, which is my favorite one, of course, which has zombies in it.
Hmm.
It's the only one that doesn't take place on the boat. And then at the end, one of the guys gets possessed. And it ends on a cliffhanger, but I don't know if it was only meant to be 8 episodes because it ends on a cliffhanger. But it's really good. And I got this from Hamilton Books, $5. I bought a bunch of first season shows like The Purge,
Hmm.
From Dusk Till Dawn, all for like $5 each. And I actually did just watch The Purge Part 1. And because I watched The Forever Purge, which might be my favorite one. So I thought, oh, let's watch the show. So I have season 2 should be here by Monday. Then I'm going to watch that. But this is really, it's really good. I mean, if you're trying to find a show it's only, like I said, it's only 8 episodes.
So only
And
did one season.
yeah, I don't know why. I'm not sure. I maybe just people weren't into it, but it's kind of a little bit of everything. It was originally on ABC. And here's another thing that I find confusing. So, okay, so it met with generally favorable reviews. It was officially canceled due to subpar ratings.
Right.
Netflix was in talks with ABC Studios about possibly continuing the series, but ultimately passed. Bruce Greenwood is the main person in it. He plays the like the Steve Irwin guy.
Right.
Um, and Pele doesn't direct any of them. He was the creator,
Well,
writer,
we've talked
producer.
about this. He wasn't really big on directing, right? He didn't enjoy
No,
directing Paranormal Activity, and the only other one he's really directed was the Area 51 movie, which I
right.
think also was a found footage movie, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it is, and it's not great. It's I'm glad to own it, but it's not great. Um, yeah, so this was 2012 from February to March. Katie is in it. She's near the
Katie
end. She has like,
Featherstone? Oh, nice.
yeah, she has to. Now, what I have to say about that is I think maybe we should look this up. There's a reason why she's not acting anymore. She is the worst actress on the show. She's in 3 episodes and she's awful. Technically 2. If you blink, you miss her in 1 episode. And then she has a larger role in 2.
Are you saying
She
she's
is,
like better when she doesn't really have a script, that she
I
has to
think,
just be
so.
like herself or whatever, you
Her
know?
voice, yeah, is high pitched. So it's kind of hard to hear, but she acts like one of the movies we would buy from one of our friends on Facebook.
Oh wow.
She's like, she does the role, but this almost seems like it should be like for a micro budget movie. She's just not a good actress in it. But the thing is, it's so the producers, Jason Blum, they also had on here Steven Spielberg. They have Glenn Morgan is one of the producers.
So Steven Spielberg produced this?
Yeah, Spielberg called in the what's his face, the Oren Petty
Pelly.
Pelly called him into his office and said we need to make a TV show because there's like a little documentary
Because
on the
you said Spielberg was a fan of Paranormal Activity, right? And kind of
yeah
suggested things to fix it or whatever to make it good, but to make it work with the audience. That's interesting. I didn't think
yeah.
about that.
So I'm guessing because probably by this point part 3 had done so well that Spielberg's like we need to make a TV series and he got pitched some ideas and he went with The River. He goes, that's the one we need to do because it's like nothing out there right now. Like it's
Mm.
totally different from Paranormal Activity. And so he was on there. I was impressed when I started seeing Glenn Morgan's name. I was like, fuck, how many people do they have on this thing? Why
That's
didn't
an
this dude?
X-Files guy, right? He also did
Yeah,
Final Destination.
yeah. And
Nice.
the composer, who they don't list here, is a really well known music composer, but I'm not seeing.
Hold on,
It
let me
doesn't
look
list
it
who
up on
does.
IMDb. Composer is Graham Revell. Yeah,
Oh yeah. There he is, right
Graham
there. I just
Revel
missed him.
Revell did The Crow and Pineapple Express, and I'm gonna guess like Bride of Chucky or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have a ton of his soundtracks, and he's a great composer. So it's like, why did this show not do better? I don't get it.
no
So
idea.
yeah, it's definitely worth watching. And I think now I own everything, from him. So I got all the Paranormal Activities, I got The River, I got Area 51, and then of course he's on Insidious. I got all those except for the new one. So
So
it's
you
like
got almost everything he's done. Yeah,
yeah, without really even including like Chernobyl Diaries. I got that.
yeah, yeah.
So I think, but I
You're an
think
Oren
that
Pelly fan.
I guess so. I guess as a producer creator, I guess I'm a fan because I
Well,
think
you
it
said
was
he enjoyed more producing, right? Which,
that.
uh,
Well, that's what he turned into. I
well,
mean,
but
so I'm
you said he like
guessing
enjoyed that more. Like that was more what he wanted, right? And
they
that is,
offered him part two. They offered him Paranormal Activity 2, and he passed. He said, "No, I've done it. I've directed. I've done it. I don't want to do it again."
yeah, he wants to direct original movies. Which, I mean, that's interesting to think about because then you look at James Wan when he directed Saw, but he's never directed any of the other Saw movies. He went on which is interesting. He never directed any of the other Saw movies, but then he directed Insidious 1 and 2, and then Conjuring 1 and 2, you know. So I guess he doesn't really get past like he's got Aquaman 2 coming, you know what I mean? Doesn't get past 2. After that, he's just kind of,
But
I mean, he did Fast and Furious 7, but he was no real
it
connection
was
to
only
that.
there's only one.
There's only
So
one. I guess he's more picky about like, not doing too many of them because also I think it's a thing with once you have your name on all of them, right? So you're doing like say you do like 15 movies and it's all directed by the same guy. It feels kind of stale. Like I like movies that are in a franchise that are directed by different directors, you know, to
well,
me.
that's why. Yeah, I wish Spiral for Saw was a different director. I actually wish that it was a black director, since it's known as like the Black Saw. I think that it probably would have been better with a
I
black
think it would
director.
have been better too because from what I've understood, that director, Bozeman,
He, yeah, he
uh,
did like part 2 and 3.
and I think
He's
isn't he doing the next one? Isn't he 10? Is
no,
it?
it's the he was an editor, but they had him do Saw the Final Chapter.
Okay.
He
So
was
he had to,
supposed to go do Paranormal Activity part 2, but he was
oh,
under contract. So they took him away from Paranormal Activity 2 and had him do Saw.
oh,
Yeah, which I heard from what I read is he didn't want to do it. But
Darren
he
Lynn
was
Bozeman, that's his name.
yeah, and so he came back for Spiral, which I thought was not a good idea. I think once you've already done like 3 of these movies, let other people do them unless you're part of that factory. And I'll use Tom Cruise as an example, like him with Christopher McQuarrie. They obviously have a factory. So now McQuarrie's taken over all of the Mission Impossible movies. So they,
Right.
so it has like the same look, the same feel, the same storyline. That I think is okay. But when you're kind of plopping in different directors into things,
Hmm.
then you bring back the same director for like 2, 3, 4, 5. That I think I don't know. I don't like that. So I
I
think
mean,
Spiral should.
even Iron Man 1 and 2 was directed by Jon Favreau, but then what's the guy? Shane Black came in for the third one, you know?
Yeah, because
And
you're setting up the Bible. You're kind of setting everything up for future directors. And I think with like Saw 5, I'm sorry, Saw 10, I don't know, that may be a good thing or a bad thing that they brought back a continuing director. But Jigsaw was done by 2 people who never directed any of the Saw movies, and I actually enjoyed that. I know some people didn't, but I
Hmm.
think that's the same thing with the Paranormal Activity films. Is I think the guys who did three also did who did I think they did three and four, and then the main writer got to direct marked ones, and then the main editor did a Dimension.
Cool.
And I think that's okay. Like if you want to do one or two films kind of back
And
to
then they're
back
in the
as you're in that
family,
groove.
if they're editors and stuff for
Yeah,
them. They've seen all the movies, like they know sort of what you want. That's the thing with like Blumhouse and all of these guys is like they brought Lee Winnell for Insidious, you know, was it three, I think? Or
yeah. He was the one with the other family. Yeah.
yeah. And so which, was like
No,
a
no,
maybe it was four.
he
The
did
last
four.
yeah.
They brought in a completely different guy to do three.
Yeah, they brought in somebody else to do it, but like they brought Lee Winnell, who had been writing all those stuff. Obviously he knows sort of what he wants in it. You know what I mean, right? He's not gonna do the stuff that James Wan does when he directs. Um, here's an interesting thing that I don't know if you know, because I was listening to Kevin Smith at a convent like I went to one of his shows, where he talks to everybody, and he was talking about doing the Flash series and how as a director you don't and I think he said this on other things before so that you can hear, but he says as a director for TV you're really not directing, you know, because the cameraman knows what's everybody's already done this a million times. You're just kind of brought in, and you can kind of tell people what to do a little bit, but really they're not gonna, you're not gonna tell Supergirl, what her motivation, you know what I mean? Like she
Sure,
knows. Yeah, like she's been doing this a million times. And they have different directors for each episode. So really the directors are just there, you know. And Kevin even said he like left the set for a while and would come back and bring people food, while they're shooting, you know.
well,
So
yeah,
like he's
it's
not even on
it's a total
set.
machine.
He's
Yeah,
not even
they
on
have to.
set like watching them. He's out somewhere else. They're shooting. He comes back and they're, you know what I mean? Sometimes, which I mean,
Well,
it's just
it's like what Bruce Campbell said for Ash versus Evil Dead is the first season was picking the writers and the directors,
mm,
and they picked the ones that they liked and put them over here, and the ones they didn't like they put over here. So season two, those are the ones that they wanted to work with. Those
mm.
are the ones that could get the job done the best, the
But they
fastest.
had to they had to figure out who worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's so what you're seeing is, yeah, the ones that then knew it the best because they had already done it the first season.
Yep.
So it's so I get it. I mean, that's why everybody works together. I mean, that's why Scorsese and De Niro worked together for so long, or with
And they're
Leonardo
still working
DiCaprio. And
together.
yeah, I mean that's
They
that
got
the
they
job
got
can
that
get
new
done.
movie, The Killing of the something moon or whatever, you
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah.
So they got
So
they
it's
with Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro, to the people that Martin Scorsese loves to work with. He puts them together in a movie, which I don't think they've ever been in a movie together. So, to me, that's kind of cool, like I'll watch it. I actually might go to the theater because I haven't really wanted to go see a movie in the theater in a while, and I guarantee you Paul will want to go see that. So I might actually go see that movie, you know.
I'll see Saw. I'll see Saw 10. That I'll go to definitely.
Yeah.
But
Um,
I caught Red Door streaming,
the
and
Nun
I'll
2's
probably
out.
None 2 I'll probably catch streaming. I've heard so mixed. I did enjoy Red Door. I think I'll probably like part 2. Some people have said it's better than part 1. They didn't find it boring. A lot of people found
Hmm.
part 1 to be boring. But I'm not gonna. Yeah, I've seen every Saw in the theater, so I'm not going to. I'm not gonna miss it. So I gotta go see it.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's to go back to Paranormal Activity. I mean, even the stuff with Katie. I mean, obviously she was such a huge favorite that they tried to figure out, and probably Mika too, try to figure out a way of bringing her back. And that's
Yeah.
where I think the genius of this series comes in, is because I was thinking about this, is what do you do? Do you continue the story of just Katie, demon Katie with the big teeth, running, just running around the city killing people? Or do you do something
And how
totally?
would you do that handheld, with the
Yeah,
camera,
it
you know,
wouldn't be.
paranormal
Yeah, and
activity.
that's the problem with this. The camera work makes no sense. So it's the camera work is kind of like The Office, where it's there is the camera crew. So this is considered found footage,
So it's
but
it's like The Office where they're videotaping and they're making a documentary about whatever.
they're making a documentary about finding this guy. And but so you have at least two people holding big cameras. You have people on their cell phone, but they set up cameras
Hmm.
and those come out with lines on them, but like it's low grade. But it doesn't make sense. There's one shot of this young Hispanic girl who's, I guess she's supposed to be a teenager, like she's 15 or something, but she's probably like 20 or something in real life.
Right.
And she goes to grab something off a table, and the camera is like right here. So she leans over. You get this huge shot of her cleavage, and then she pulls back. I'm like, why would a camera be there? A camera wouldn't be there.
Right.
So these kind of grainy cameras make, and they do go like, oh yeah, I set one up here, I set one up there, but it makes no sense because apparently they have like 100 of them. And then there's regular footage. So it goes between these grainy cameras, and some of it just doesn't, it doesn't make sense camera
Right.
wise.
So that reminded me of like my friend made me watch because I made her watch some show or something. So she's like, you gotta watch something I want to watch. So she picked one of those
I
stupid
always love that.
reality TV shows that I fucking hate. And the first episode, I like yelled at her and I was like, this like is supposed to be reality. This is so fucking fake. And I was like, so there's a scene where somebody's cell phone is supposed to be accidentally run over by a car, you know, and everything. And the shot is of on the ground of the thing getting run over. And I'm like, wait, so this is supposed to be an accident, yet somebody put a fucking camera on the ground. Like nobody ever puts a camera on the ground. Like that just doesn't in record,
Well,
you
no,
know.
yeah, no one puts a camera on the ground that's recording.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
unless I mean, it was probably a cool shot,
right.
but it doesn't make any
It
sense.
doesn't make any sense for a reality TV show where it's supposed to be like this is supposed to feel like real life. I'm like, this is scripted. Like the person's gonna run over that cell phone and is gonna know they're running over a cell phone, which means that when they say, "Oh, I didn't mean to do that," and they're actually meaning like they're supposed to be really serious. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I'm sorry. I'm like, you did that on purpose because that was what we're told to do. Go run over that, run over that cell phone, get that person mad at you, so cause us some drama. Like, how dare you run over my cell phone? I'm like, oh, this is so annoying. I hate that shit. Like, I
Well, and
don't
that's
like,
in this. I think I mentioned on our last video that my issue, the only issue that I really had with the first film, is I didn't like the fades, fade in, fade out. Actually, they go fade out, fade in, or the dissolves. It's like, okay, so who's doing that? Is it like an editing crew at the police station, or going, oh, do a dissolve there? This, it just cuts. So it's just camera, cell phone. It just cuts
hmm
because people had already collected this stuff and stuck it together. But it's there's like, they don't do like the fades and stuff.
right.
So which I like a lot better.
That would have
And
worked for that because that's a TV show that's supposed to be a TV show, right? It's supposed to be like we found this, we're turning this into a TV show, for you guys, right?
well, it's the foot, they never say like who found the footage. They just say this is the footage that they left us, that type of thing. But it still has its problems with the camera. I just don't really like the fade in, fade outs. I think part two, I think Paranormal Activity 2 does a better job than the first one, even though the first one only had one camera. I think the multiple cameras um in part two all over the place are perfect, because instead of shooting this, they shoot this.
Hmm.
So your eye is going like, if all of a sudden you're hearing that like humming, and it just gets more, louder and louder, your eye starts going around the entire bedroom. Like, what's going to move? Is it going to be a door? Is the window going to
That sort
open?
of that sort of annoys me because like once again, sometimes it's just something small that I don't even probably even notice or whatever I can't find, like that sort of kind of irks me a little bit. I don't like that. Like I want if you're gonna make it that dramatic, something big better happen, you know. So
See,
that's my opinion.
I didn't mind that, because a lot of the time stuff didn't happen. Like the dad goes out to check the pool, and it's just this
Nothing happens.
giant wide shot of the pool, and he's just walking around the pool, jumps in the pool, and then that's when he jumped into the hot tub that was like burning.
Mm,
And then, of course, the first person that he accuses is the daughter, because she's a kid, and then he hops back in. So the closest thing to the camera is the hot tub,
right.
even though it's a giant shot. But I just like kind of watching, just seeing what's going to be going on. So yeah, that stuff didn't bother me at all. I actually like that better, because I've never understood in a found footage movie why you would cut from a medium shot to a close up.
Mm,
That would never happen. That makes no sense.
I once again, this is why I don't like found footage because it all seems
Well, it's because
fake
some
to
people
me.
could do it well and some people don't.
Yeah,
You know.
I can't take found footage because a lot of it is obviously fake, so it comes off as fake at times. And I'm just like, oh, I can't like I'm not a fan of it. Now the only reason I like these are because first of all, the second one had a lot more humor and a lot more fun to it. The first one was interesting enough to keep me going, oh my God, all right, what's gonna happen next? And everything, especially when it becomes a demon, it's not a ghost. I always thought these were ghost stuff. So the fact that it's a demon makes it even creepier, because ghosts can't really possess you, only demons, And to me, I was fascinated by possession movies, you know, um, The Exorcist and whatnot,
they
like
they are, because they the thing that I found funny is in one. I don't know if it was found footage, but it was probably just possession. But they sat there and said that the less of a believer you are, the easier it is for you to get possessed. And I think that's bullshit. I think the more you believe, the easier it is for you to get possessed. Why
hmm
would I be possessed for something I don't believe?
right.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It makes more sense to say that like if you believe it, you're more likely gonna get. It's kind of like was it the power of suggestion? You know, like somebody thinks something's gonna happen, and then eventually it does happen because you're thinking it so much. I forgot what it was. I heard that line in something where the I don't know if it was a joke or something, like a TikTok or something, but the person said, oh yeah, it was fucking Taylor Tomlinson, the comedian actress girl, and she was talking about how her doctor would tell her, you treat, you think people are going to treat you like trash so much that you start believing they're treating you like trash, and then up until they do treat you like trash, and then you go, see, you know, right? It's like, same thing like that. And so if somebody goes, I really believe in demons, demons are really going to possess me. And then they start doing that after a while, they'll actually start thinking demons are actually possessing them,
Oh,
you know?
absolutely. I believe, not 100%, but I believe the same thing with doctors. You go in for a physical, you were perfectly fine, and then it's like, oh, by the way, you have cancer. You have 2 days to live. Would you have had cancer if you didn't go to the doctor? Like it's one like if you never knew that you had cancer and then panicked that you had cancer and then had to call everybody and get them all depressed, would you actually die in 2 days?
Maybe not. I don't know. Can't.
I don't think so, because that's you you always hear about this type of stuff is the person's perfectly fine until the doctor goes, oh yeah, you have cancer. And then now they're on chemo. Now they're on all this other stuff, and then they're dead. It's like, okay, maybe if you didn't go to the doctor that day, you might be fine.
But if you weren't feeling good, that'd be a different story. Like you weren't already, you
Well, if
were
you're like
already,
coughing up blood,
yeah. And then you
then yeah,
go, and
then
then they
that's
go, well,
something
you have
different.
cancer.
But if
Then
you're
you,
just but if you're like, oh, hey, it's time for my checkup, I'm 50. I guess I got to go in for that checkup.
I mean,
And
I think the same thing's happening with the C word. I'm not going to say it because we get in trouble on YouTube for saying that word. It's the other C word, you know, the one that that has been plaguing the country since 2020. But in the world, not just the country,
oh,
but the world,
the
the,
virus of
the
unknown origin.
or known origins, whatever one you want to. Um, so it's like everybody's scaring people now again, saying, "Oh my God, that's on the rise." But is it really on the rise, or are we just going to the doctors to find out, and they're just saying, "Yeah, that's what you got. You don't got a cold. You got the C word." You know? Oh. Uh, here's you gotta separate yourself for a while and not do and not go to work and not do what I mean. Like I wonder if like we're sort of told that. I don't know. That's a maybe a
Well,
conspiracy
it's
theory, but
I mean, to go back to the film, and the same idea is the younger sister would bring up the stepmom would bring up these things, about the hauntings and all that. And Katie would be like, don't talk about it.
exactly.
Don't do anything about it. It will go away. And the more that it was talked about and the more that it, that they did things, it just got
It gets stronger.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're
So
right.
it's
That's that good. That's perfect for Paranormal
kind of
Activity
like
too.
Freddy Krueger. When she ignored him, he disappeared.
I guess. I mean, you can't really ignore somebody who comes in your dreams whenever they feel like it.
But she removed him from the dreams, from acknowledging that he didn't exist. But he
Oh, that's
still
true.
existed because he came back, what, 8 movies.
I
So
mean,
I
he
guess
still
that
existed, but he wasn't the big thing is he thrived on the fear of the people on Elm Street. So like everybody had to start fearing him before he could actually come back into their dreams. Unless he decided to come back from a dog urinating fire.
I love that. Part 4 is my favorite.
I know. I just remember Leonard Maltin's bomb of it, saying it was a bomb because it starts out with a dog urinating fire and bringing Freddy back to
It's a
life.
hell dog. I mean, that's what's awesome. It's a hell dog pissing on his grave.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, come on. That just shows that there's no creativity with critics.
Well,
So
with critics
it's
like Leonard Maltin, who thrives sort of on watching movies that are critiquing movies to the point where, you know, I'm just gonna give this a bomb because I thought it was bad, like whatever, but like everybody else seems to really enjoy it, so fuck you, like who cares? Who cares what
I
you have to say?
yeah, I do remember one critic in San Francisco who said, "Oh, it's for aliens." I think he gave it. I think it was like a stare. It's the way that the Chronicle worked was that it was a little man in a seat, and if he left the seat, it was a bomb. If it was boring, he was sleeping. If he was entertained, he was staring. If he liked it, he was clapping. If he was out of his seat clapping, it was great. And I think he gave aliens just staring. And it said, "Oh yeah, I don't like science fiction movies, so I'm giving this a staring." And it's like, then don't review it. Find somebody who does. Because
Oh,
Aliens
yeah.
is a great movie. What are you talking about?
Well,
So
I mean, yeah, that depends on who you got going because, like, some people, like Roger Ebert, did not like horror films. Neither did Siskel. you know, they did not like horror films. And so they, except though, they like Scream 2 better than Scream 1,
I would
interestingly
agree with
enough.
that. I like
Uh,
Scream 2 better than Scream 1.
yeah, and they said it's, because it's like they got the jokes then, it was like it became more fun for them, but the first movie they didn't, and I love, we've talked about this. I like Scream 1 better than Scream 2, but I still love Scream 2 a lot. And I get if somebody likes Scream, like you liking Scream 2 better than Scream 1, I get that, it's just my thing is that movie really
I
has a
I
part in
go
my heart.
I go off of certain things that are dumb, that are kind of guy things. Like I think Nev Campbell is amazing looking in it, and I think she's better looking than the first film. I love her with the short hair. I also like that I
I
was on the
wasn't a big
set
fan of
that
the
one
short hair,
day.
but I grew to like it.
Yeah, I really dug her
No,
with that
no,
hair.
no pun intended. I grew to like it. Mm.
Uh, so I mean, there's certain things like I like part four. Would be my favorite sequel at least. I almost like it better than part one. But I would say when I was watching Paranormal Activity 2, the scene that made me go, "Oh, this guy's a good director," is the swimming pool scene when all the women are in bikinis and the boyfriend is filming them all. And he's doing it like a teenager, like he's on his girlfriend and there she is in the bikini, and then there's Katie, and she's in the bikini and she has big boobs, and then he goes to the stepmom and she's like sitting up on the chair and she still has the bikini top on, but I think she's like has like a towel wrapped around her. And I thought that was just like, one, that's an awesome director. Two, awesome actresses for all of them putting on a bikini. And three, it was just filmed really well because
Hmm.
that's what a horny teenager would do. He'd be like, "Oh, you're talking. Let me turn the camera over here so I could see you in a bikini." So that's also, that's a good sign of a good director right there,
Yeah,
because he knows how to show flesh.
yeah, he did a great job. I would sad he didn't come back for any of the other ones, I guess, or whatever.
He chose not to.
So you chose not to? You
Yeah,
didn't
he
have a
chose
good
not to.
time?
Yeah, he went on to do something else.
Sell.
So, it was just that's why I say, if eventually when you watch that documentary, you'll see that in-house people enjoyed working on the movies a lot more than outside people. Because I guess there was so much writing on Paranormal Activity 2 that it was very stressful for the director.
Right.
Because the formula that they did was shoot a movie. If it doesn't work, shoot the movie again. If it doesn't work, shoot the movie again. If the scene in the bathtub doesn't work, move it to a closet. So go reshoot it. I mean, there's probably so much footage from these movies that we'll never see. And I heard they did the same thing for like part three. So it was a really kind of like trial by fire, when it came to shooting these things. Like there was an outline. There really wasn't scripts.
So the movie I was thinking of Tom Cruise that I don't know why I thought Cell, but I guess it started with the C as well, was Collateral, you know?
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it though, but I definitely will try it at some point.
Yeah, it's not science fiction or anything. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
that
more an action movie,
yeah,
right?
it's Michael Mann. It's shot in LA, so it's beautiful. So it's got that blue Michael Mann look to it. And yeah, he's an assassin who basically takes Jamie Foxx, kind of like
Hostage.
yeah, in a way. And then he drives the taxi around town so Tom Cruise could kill people. So, and Cruise, yeah, he's really good in it. So
Cool. Sounds
yeah,
fun.
yeah. So that's really good.
It's
So
Michael
you're
Mann, man. How can you go wrong? I don't think he's made a bad movie.
that's the great thing about both James Cameron and Michael Mann is the way they see LA. And I love that they see it in blues and it's gritty. Um, even something like Constantine, when he actually goes to hell, it's LA. Uh
Hmm.
it's there's certain filmmakers, kind of like how Woody Allen has a love for New York. They like James Cameron and Michael Mann have a love for LA. And I
Yeah.
love how they show LA. And just Michael Mann is just a great director, anyways. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at Collateral and Thief and Heat, they all kind of have that same
Look,
look going. Yeah.
there you go.
So,
Well, I think that'll be our Paranormal Activity 2 talk for today.
oh, are
Uh
we going to review?
oh
Like give
yeah,
it a
we're gonna
rating?
do a review of it or a rating of it. What did I rate? What did I rate part one? 4? I want to say I did 4 stars.
Yeah, I think we're going like, yeah, like one to
One to
five.
1 to 5, but I think I did 4 stars on that. So I'm gonna give 4.5 for this one.
Okay. I
Well,
will give, I'll do the same because I think I gave 4 to the first one. So
maybe I gave lower. I might
I
have done.
think,
I think I
I
did
think
three and a
I,
half.
yeah, I think you did go lower because I think I didn't give it 5. I'm pretty sure I gave it 4. So I
I
think,
think
yeah,
I
that you
gave
might
it
have
three
given
and a
it
half.
3.5. You said something about how it kind of started off slow.
Yeah, this one, I will admit that it did have the build up of, and the stuff didn't really start happening until about 15 to 20 minutes in, but it did set up the characters. I think I enjoyed it more because there's more people to get to know than just 2 people talking. So like there's more stuff, more conversations. There was the stuff with the child, you know what I mean? And it was a little bit more fun. I think if Paranormal Activity 1 had a little bit more people in the beginning, like maybe like having a housewarming party or something, in the
That's
beginning
money.
of the what
That's money.
I know, but like,
For the first film, they didn't have any money.
yeah, but you don't have to pay extras really, much.
I mean, I guess you
People.
could have your friends come over, but then
Yeah.
I don't know. Having the 2 people doesn't bother me. In the second one, I think just doing the prequel stuff, and we get to see Katie a lot, and then there's Mika. Anything that was kind of slow in there, I think worked itself out with showing them. I think that's what people really liked at the beginning. It's like, oh
Mm,
shit, they're back. Wait, when did this take place? Oh shit, it must
yeah.
be a prequel.
Yeah,
How can Katie be back?
that's exactly my thoughts when I saw Mika and Katie. I was like, wait a minute. This
Well, you
must
see
be.
Katie first a few times, and then Mika shows up, and then that's when you're really like, "What? Wait a minute! What is this?"
Well, yeah,
That's why.
well, I mean, I assumed it must have been that when you first see her because she's not a fucking demon, and stuff. So I don't think the demon's gonna go, all right, I'm gonna let you go back to normal for a little bit. And
Well, demons can make you look, can have you seem normal.
then,
They're just the demon is still there.
yeah. But I'm gonna go 4.5. I like this a lot. It was a lot of fun. I don't
I'm
know.
gonna go 4.5 too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be
So
curious to see what you think of the third one. So that the prequel.
yeah. Well, it's still written by Christopher Landon, so it's a good sign to me because, I think he directed the fourth one, or something
The
or
fourth one, as far as a box office goes, is when it took a dip, and they were like, oh, now what?
right.
Because every
'Cause
series is going to do that, because like every Saw was like number friggin' 1 until Paranormal Activity came out. And then Saw the Final Chapter was like number 2. And they're like, okay, we got to stop. Because now every Paranormal Activity film that will come out is going to be number 1. We're going to be number 2. So
okay.
now Paranormal Activity, you know, part 4 went down.
So 3 and 4 were both directed by the guys who did Catfish, and then 5, which is the marked ones, started the started with Christopher Landon coming to direct. And did he do Ghost Dimension?
No, that's the editor.
The editor did Ghost
Yeah.
Dimension, Gregory Plotkin,
Yeah,
and
they
then
basically got promotions because that's Blumhouse, and just basically all the higher ups are just like, these guys are doing great jobs. We're making a lot of money off these movies, and it's because of this. So they gave them promotions.
yeah, interesting because the director of the new one was of Next of Kin was the director of The Signal, which I think is a Is that found footage?
There's two movies called The Signal.
Okay, so this is the one where it's on a road trip. Nick and two friends are drawn to an isolated area by a computer genius. When everything suddenly goes dark, Nick regains consciousness, only to find himself in a waking nightmare.
Okay. Yeah, I think I own that one. I think that was a
Starring
Dollar
Olivia
Tree
Cook
pickup.
and Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, there's another one that takes place at a with a DJ at a
And I
radio
think that
station.
was the wasn't that the found footage one or something? But
I'm not
oh,
sure if that's found footage. It's one location. I
and
know
then he did
that.
a movie called Underwater, which a crew of oceanic researchers working for a deep sea drilling company try to get to safety. I remember when that came
Is
on.
that Kristen Stewart?
Yeah, the Kristen Stewart one. And
I
I
like that
remember
one.
when that came on in the trailers. I had wanted to see it, but just never did. And so I might check it out sometime. It's on FX now. But then
Yeah,
he
it's very
directed
H.P.
Next to
Lovecraft.
Ken. So I wonder who'll be the next director if they do another paranormal. Sure, they'll do another Paranormal Activity. Why not? Keep it
Well,
going.
I heard that either they're doing it or it's done. They said that it's supposed to be. It's not next of Ken. It's going to be a sequel to the other movies, so it will like continue the story.
So why did they? So Next to Kin is like a different people altogether, right?
Yeah, it's still found footage. It's a girl who's trying to find her mother, and her mother is in this like Amish farm, which is like a cult, and she goes up there with her friends to film it, and then all the weird stuff happens.
Is it like demons or is it ghost in this one?
I think it's a demon, and like I said, I heard that it was the same demon. It's the only connection, but then the review mentioned that it's a different demon. That's not the same demon. That's like a completely standalone movie.
Well, we've got Exorcist Believer coming out on October 6th.
Pass.
Five Nights at Freddy's coming out October 27th.
Streaming.
And a movie called Totally Killer uh coming out October 6th.
If
Uh
Exorcist gets good reviews, I'll watch it on streaming, but that's
he
about
goes,
it.
when the infamous Sweet 16 killer returns 35 years after the murder spree to claim another victim, 17-year-old Jamie accidentally travels back in time to 1987, determined to stop the killer before he can start. Um, Olivia Holt and Kiernan Shipka, never heard of that name.
I like
Loch,
time travel stuff. I've watched that.
Lachlan Monroe's in it. Looks good. It's directed by, oh God, this is gonna be a hard name. Sorry, girl. Nanachka Khan. She directed it. She had worked on Young Rock and American Dad and a bunch of other stuff. Fresh Off the Boat. She created that. So she directed this movie, and it's written by David Madelon, Sasha Pearl Raver, and Jen DeLongo. But that's a movie produced by and it's coming to Prime.
Yeah.
And it said from the producers, a happy death day in Megan. So
Okay.
I might check that out. I don't know. See it on, well, it's only on streaming. So, and that's what I like about Blumhouse, honestly. Blumhouse tends to know what movies like Jason Blum picks, what movies is going to go to theater and which one's going to go directly to streaming. And he's usually right. Is your cat trying to come into the movie?
Yes, we got a big tail right here.
I see it.
I'm not paying him attention, and I haven't cleaned their cat box yet, so
Oh, fun
I gotta go
stuff.
do.
All right. Well, I guess
Yeah.
on that note, getting the cat box out, we're gonna wrap this up. But all right, so next episode will be Paranormal Activity 3, which I think we'll be doing like coming out in like 2 weeks. So I think we're doing it every 2 weeks. So we'll have some more episodes coming out for you for Mainstream Monday. But I'm excited about that. I'm considering it, I've never gone down this road of Paranormal Activity before. It's all fresh to me, you know. So
That's
you've
good.
seen them a couple times, but from my fresh perspective, you can kind of get it. And I liked it. Like you said, I like the daughter, I like the father, I like the mother, the stepmother, I like the little kid, I liked the dog. I was like so sad when the freaking demon attacked the dog, but I'm like,
That's the thing. Little kids and dogs. I'm almost convinced of this, even though I don't believe in all this hooey. Is that little kids and dogs see things that we can't. So, like when we see them in the bedroom there, like they're looking up at the corner, and there's nothing there because, like I said, genius. They decided to put that sliding door for the closet with glass on it, so you could see that they're looking at nothing. And I mean, I don't know how many times I got these cats here that are just staring up at the ceiling and there's nothing there.
there's
But maybe
something
they see
there.
something. Maybe they see something.
Maybe your apartment's haunted.
I mean, it could be. I can swear I've put stuff in other places, and that ends up being on a table here
Did
when
it
it
did
shouldn't
it
usually.
did it get up and move like the the stuff
I don't
did
know.
on its own?
According to these movies, it moves when you leave the room.
You know what I notice a lot of times, not all the times, but a lot of times it happens at night and not during the day. I'm like, why is the demons attack during the day? Is it sleeping?
Yeah,
Is the demon sleeping during the day? And
it's a nocturnal
he's
demon.
he's a vampire demon, you know. He just only comes out at night. You know, and he does a couple of times, like when the like we said, when everything opened up and everything, that was during the day, I believe,
Right.
you know, and everything like that. So it does attack during the day sometimes, but I think it like nighttime is when you're most vulnerable because you're tired, it's the end of the day, it's darker, you know, and so you're more like susceptible to like getting scared, you know, or whatever than
Oh,
you
and,
are
and the
during the.
mom got the double whammy of being pulled down the stairs.
God, oh, we forgot to talk about that. Jesus, this is at the end of the
Yeah,
thing. We talk
where
about that.
Katie
That's
got pulled
funny.
down the hallway, but
Yeah,
she got the double whammy of those
she got pulled
stairs.
down the stairs, but then she got back up and tried to run back up, and then Dean was like, "Nope, I'm gonna pull you back down some more." And then
And the dad's
she's
like, just the wind. It was just the wind.
not when he saw that part because remember she showed, you know, Dad, you need to see this before you see Katie, you know, or not Katie, whatever the stepmom's name is. And
Yeah,
so
I
he
forget.
checks it out, and that was when he was like, "We really need to do something. Like this is scary. Like this is
We need to
actually,
get back, our nanny maid.
yeah, we need
She
to get the maid back, who I
wait, which I'm
fired."
sorry. It's like in the river, one of the sarcastic guys that's in it, whenever the like young Hispanic girl would talk about the evils that are out there, the guy goes, this is like 4 or 5 episodes in. He's like, when she looks worried or she starts talking about ghosts or demons, I'm listening to her.
All right.
So I'm sorry when if you have this maid, a Hispanic maid or nanny, and all of a sudden you come home and she's doing one of those cleansing things, let her do it. Let her do it. If you believe or not, just do it. It can't hurt anything.
Right. I don't know why
Just
she got fired over that shit, you
because
know.
the guy thought it was hooey, and he
I
didn't. I
know, but
think he
it
thought it
doesn't
was
matter.
bad for the kid.
But
Like the
still,
smoke.
like, you just say, look, I'm gonna have to fire you if you
Oh,
don't, you know, do that. So, whatever.
I mean, it's just I don't know. I would just let them do it, even if I believed it or not. It's like I
Yeah.
don't know. I just do it because you can never be too sure.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
it's
that could
just
have saved their house, maybe.
it might have. I
Might have
mean,
calmed the demon down enough where he's just like, never mind. I don't want to deal with this shit. It
well, because
smells.
it way back when. I mean, it was the Catholics who went into Mexico
Right.
and converted, everybody over to like Christianity and scared the fuck out of them. And
Mm-hmm.
and so that's why they have all this religious symbolism around them, is because they got brainwashed into believing all this stuff. But it's like, if I don't know, if I came home and she was doing that, I'd be like, what are you doing? And if she's like, evil spirits are here, I'd be like, go ahead, Do it. Do it. I may not believe in the evil spirits, but do it. Go ahead. Why not?
For sure. Well, all right. I think that's enough. I think we've discussed it enough, and we discussed other shit enough that we're done. But thank you. If you guys watched it all the way to the end, please let us know that you
Thank
watched
you.
it all the way to the end, because we appreciate that. Um, and tell us what you guys thought of Paranormal Activity 2. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Is there problems? I had a lot of fun with it, so I'm really looking forward to part 3. But part 2 was good, and yeah. So thank you, John, and join
Thank
us
you.
for the next episode. Then until later,
Bye,
bye.
everybody. Bye.